Good, good morning, YouTube. Time to make a video. This is Johnny. It's what when I'm in watching booktube videos, and I don't know how many people who make booktube videos subscribe to my channel, but I always, when I go to their channels, the booktubers, I look at to see what channels they subscribe to, and the majority of them don't list any of the people they subscribe to. And the ones that do, you know, I'm always curious, what do these booktubers, who do they watch? And I'd say at least 99% of the booktube videos that I see are all women. I don't see any old men. Now, as I've said, I'm 68 years old, and I'll be 69 this coming August. And I have been a bookworm my entire life. I've always had books in my life. Music, books, writing in my diary. I love language, I love words. But I'm not saying that there are probably people on YouTube, old guys, who are making videos, but I'm talking about old men who sit down and talk about books, talk about their lives as readers, their lives as those who wander used bookstores, who go to used book sales, who read book reviews, who watch booktube videos. Most of them are women, girls, women, and I don't know what that is. It seems, according to my wife, she says women are more sociable. Women tend to gather together and they just drink coffee and they talk, and maybe it's the same thing about booktube, that women are drawn to other women and they can talk about books, whereas men are kind of solitary creatures. I don't know. I make videos because it's like I've been keeping an online diary for 20 years, and I never started my online diary looking for readers. I still don't. I make videos because I like to make videos, and I like to post them in my online diary. Crooked Fingers is just another dimension of my... I write, I make videos, I keep online blogs. It's just what I do. You know, why not? I mean, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not, just part of being a sociable person, I suppose. But like I said, I started BookTube to talk about Christian books because there's nobody in BookTube and YouTube who's real, who shows his warts and all, and just talks about books. In this video, today is, this is a Friday Reads. It is March the 19th, 2021. Tomorrow is the first day of spring. I haven't written it in my diary. Oh, I just lost focus here. I have not written in my diary this morning. It's a blank. But I'm on page 291 for the year 2021. In this video, I'm just going to show you the remainder of the thrift store books I got last week. I want to get these all down the lower level, get them out of sight. First of all, I read this last night until almost 11:30. Philip Roth's novel, The Professor of Desire. Really enjoying this. Every time I read Philip Roth, I'm always... He's just a great writer. He reminds me a lot of Saul Bellows. And it reminds me of other writers. But I read that last night. And I got out this morning to read for devotions. This book I was reading, I got it last year, I think. It came out, no, this came out in 2016. The Fourfold Gospel, a theological reading of the New Testament portraits of Jesus by Francis Watson. I wanted to look at this to look at on the first gospel, Jesus the Jew, which is, I think, the first gospel according to him is Gospel of Matthew. And then I got this to read this morning, Jesus According to Scripture, Restoring the Portrait from the Gospels by Darrell L. Bock. So I'm going to look at those this morning. Lately in the morning, I've been kind of out of it. So I kind of get coffee and eat breakfast, and then I go in the living room and I sit and I doze. That's probably what old men do. They doze. But I was really enjoying reading Philip Roth. I found out that this is a trilogy. That there's the character is in three other. The main character is in other novels. His name is Philip. Not Philip. His name is David. David. Oh, can't pronounce his name. His name is Philip Kepesh. Is that the name? Kepesh? Oh, I can't remember now. But there was a novel before this one in 1972 that the main character, and then he did this in 1977, and then way back in the 2000s he did a third one when the character is like in his 60s. So I'm kind of I don't have the first one. I do have the third one. But the main character is in all three of those. Okay, let's get to these books. These are three. I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm just going to show them, get them down the lower level. As you all know, I'm a student of American history. I'm always fascinated with the history of America from its founding back in the 18th century up until probably the 60s. This is called Land of Giants, The Drive to Pacific Northwest, 1750 to 1950 by David Lavenier. This is an older book. This came out, I think, in the 40s. 1956 it was copyrighted. Then this is Walker Percy Remembered, A Portrait in the Words of Those Who Knew Him by David Horace Harwell. I collect the writings of Walker Percy. He's known for he wrote a novel called The Moviegoer. I think that was what it's called. This goes in my Walker Percy collection. This goes into my Samuel Johnson collection. This is John Cannon, Parliamentary Reform, 1640 to 1832. This is British history. I already have this in my Tony Judt collection. Reappraisals, Reflections of the Forgotten 20th Century. I collect his writings. He's, I know what you call him. He writes on cultural issues, political. He writes all kinds of things. 12 books. Anyway, he's an interesting essayist, writer, politics, culture, European history. This is a novel I found. Looks kind of interesting. The Monk downstairs. It was a notable New York Review book by Tim Farthing. This is on the Bay of Pigs. This is Time of the Cuban Crisis with John F. Kennedy. This is by Howard Jones. This is like American history. This goes along with another book that I got. Goes along with this book. 1 Minute to Midnight, Kennedy, Khrushchev, and Castro on the Brink of Nuclear War by Michael Dobbs. Both these go together. They deal with the same subject. And then I picked up this book on weather. I'm always every day you look at the weather and you watch the weather on TV, and this is all about weather. Heir apparent: how meteorologists learn to map and predict the dramatized weather by Mark Mower. I'm interested in weather, and so I just, I thought, oh, that looks kind of interesting. And then I picked up a novel by Nicholas Baker, who I collect. This is the Fermata. I already had it in paperback, and I found this hardback edition. I collect Nicholas Baker's books. This is A History of Western Philosophy by Bertrand Russell. Just a basic overview of Western philosophy. This is a novel by Edwin O'Connor. He wrote The Last Hurrah. This is his novel, All in the Family. It's an older work, but I've always wanted to read The Last Hurrah, and he wrote The Edge of Sadness, I Was Dancing, All in the Family, The Oracle. This is All in the Family. It's a traditional plot, character-driven kind of novel. This came out in 1964. This is a novel by Julian Barnes, who I collect, The Only Story. He's a British writer. He winner of the Man Booker Prize. I didn't know he wrote this. I came across it at Bibles to Mexico, and I plan to read it soon. This is nonfiction, The Year 1000, What Life Was Like at the Turn of the First Millennium, An English World by Robert Lacey and Danny Denzinger. It's all about what life was like in the year 1000 in Britain. I collect books on London, England. This is London Rich, The Creation of a Great City from 1666 to the Present by Peter Thorold. This was copyrighted in, what year did this come out? This came out in, doesn't say when it came out. Copyrighted 1999. I have this in paperback, and I found a hardback. Joseph Campbell, Hero with 1,000 Faces. This is on mythology. And then this is a book called The Great University, The Great American University, Its Rise to Preeminence, Its Indispensable National Role, Why It Must Be Protected by Jonathan R. Cole. I'm interested in education. This is on the American universities, their importance, why they're important to support, and they're just like, it looked kind of interesting. It was only 90 cents. I don't know, it just looked interesting, so I got it. So these are the kind of books that I get at thrift stores: American history, literary fiction, books on London, books on politics, novels, American history, just things I'm interested in. I just put them down the lower level, and then maybe someday I'll read, maybe I'll look at them. A lot of the books I buy are nonfiction because I'm interested in that subject. I'm interested in the Bay of Pigs. I'm interested in the Cuban Missile Crisis. I'm interested in the history of London, England. I'm interested in the weather. I'm interested in literary fiction. All kinds of things like that. I like the writings of Philip Roth, and I'm into the Bible, so I studied the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So these are kind of things that I want to occupy my mind as I drift on the death flow. So I just thought I'd show these. This is part 3 of the thrift store used book haul. I thought about going to thrift stores today, but I'm not sure if I will, if I'll leave the house. So, yeah. One thing I was remembering, when we lived in Houston, I did my internship. We lived in this neighborhood, and just a block from where we lived was a public library. And I could walk there in just 5 minutes to the public library. It was just around the corner where we lived, and I would go there. And that's where I would go if I wanted to read John Irving or Philip Roth, or if I just wanted to look at books in a library, I just walked down the street. And here in Holland, the library, like I said, I used to volunteer at the library used bookstore until it closed due to the COVID-19 plague. I was at the library every week. Sometimes I volunteered there twice. I was always at the library. I've always been in libraries. And when I was in California and I was at staff at the Richmond Rescue Mission, there was the Richmond City Public Library, and I went there for years. And there were a lot of used bookstores in Berkeley. I used to buy books, Cody's bookstore on Telegraph Avenue, and there were Logos Christian bookstore on Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley, and I was always, and like I said, I would go to seminary libraries, San Francisco Theological Seminary, Pacific School of Religion Library there in Berkeley, but I was always reading the Bible. I was always going to Bible studies and going to Bible conferences, and then I got into reading the Puritans, and I was always writing in my diary. I was always going to libraries. I've always been into books. That's just my life. There's a garbage truck just went by. So, yeah. So now I'm waiting out the day. Carol comes back this coming Sunday. Today I'll just write in my diary, read my books. Maybe I'll go somewhere. That's a sunny day. Spring, tomorrow is the first day of spring. So yeah. So thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for the comments. Do pray that you have a good weekend. And until next time, bye.